Hi, Todd Pouliot with Gateway Financial. Again, feel free to visit us at mygatewaymoney.com. Again, don't forget to hit the thumbs up and subscribe button. Really appreciate all of our subscribers out there, and ring the bell to be notified of any new content that we have coming out. Today, we're going to talk about a very important issue to me personally. What issues should I consider to fund my child's college education? In this checklist, we have over 20 different items that we're going to cover. Important planning issues to identify when considering when a client is trying to determine how to fund their college education. And it's 4 different areas that we're going to break it down to: financial aid issues, funding issues, qualified account issues, and tax planning issues. Really, a struggle with finding exactly what we want to do in each individual situation. So I'm going to share my screen as we always do. Financial aid issues. Do you need help determining which financial aid form to complete? Obviously, the big one everyone knows is the FAFSA, but some universities have a requirement for different forms. So please contact each college or university that your child would like to attend to make sure you are filling out the correct form for them. And if you're completing the FAFSA, do you need help estimating your expected family contribution? That is a big number to make sure that you're aware of when you're completing the FAFSA. Again, it's an income based on prior year. So for 2022, the figures are based on 2020 income, a lot like IRMA for Medicare premiums and so forth. So make sure you understand and do have those records available for when you are applying with the FAFSA. Qualified distributions from a 529 account owned by a child or their parent will not be included in income. Very careful that you understand the differences there, because it is included if it's owned by a grandparent or other third party. So when you're working with grandparents or aunts and uncles that want to possibly contribute to a 529 plan, make sure they understand how that may ultimately affect the child. Although they seemingly think it's a good thing, it may count against that person. And don't forget that the FAFSA will change for 2023 and 2024 school year, and the updated form will be out October 1st. So again, make sure you October 1st are ready to go and have all the information for you. Are you divorced or separated from your spouse? Consider whether or not the income and assets of the custodial parent that is under the FAFSA, and if you have the CSS, may require the non-custodial parent as well. It has your financial situation changed since the financial aid decision. You can appeal the financial aid decision, much like you can with IRMA and Medicare premiums, as I previously stated. So make sure you're cognizant of challenging those decisions. Does the funding issues, does the cost of college exceed your expected family contribution as calculated by FAFSA? If so, student aid such as Pell Grants, work study programs may be awarded to you. And do you hope to find grants, scholarships, or awards? Consider, obviously, please complete the FAFSA and used by the colleges that you are attending, and apply early as possible, because awards are given out on a first come, first served basis. So if you fill out the FAFSA and it comes back to you that it was not completed correctly, turn around super fast and get the corrected information as soon as possible, so you're not leaving money on the table, or those possible monies could be going to another student. And look for other awards online at a college or an affinity group, professional or civic organization. And do you expect relatives to gift money? Consider direct payment tuition. Those are not subject to gift tax and do not use the donor's annual exclusion amount or lifetime exemptions. A really great part of the tax code you want to take advantage of. And for financial aid purposes, distributions from third-party owned 529 accounts will be treated as income of the child, which we previously spoke about. Make sure you understand that, and impacts the aid eligibility if used more than 2 years before graduation. So that's one of the financial planning things that we do, is we look at, hey, when do we take that money from the 529 for tuition, and possibly not using it your freshman year may be your best course of action. Does your child expect to become an elementary teacher or a secondary school teacher? The Teach Grant is a great program. Any military benefits may be eligible. Make sure you check if you're currently serving or your spouse is serving in the military. And would your child possibly consider military service? The Reserve, ROTC, will cover most college expenses as long as a child serves at least 4 years active duty and 4 years in reserves. We've seen some pro athletes even do that in the past. Do you expect to need a loan to cover additional education-related expense? Federal direct subsidized loans, federal direct unsubsidized loans, and the federal direct plus loans, and also private loans from banks, colleges, and states. Will your child have to plan or possibly work for the government or a nonprofit for 10 years, may be eligible for some public service loan forgiveness. So not only are we worried about this situation today or tomorrow because our child may not be in college yet, but we also want to plan for the future of what your child may want to do and look at those opportunities available to you and your child. Tax advantage account issues. Do you have an IRA, Roth IRA, or an employee retirement plan, commonly a 401k? Distributions from a traditional IRA, qualified education may be subject to ordinary income taxes, but there is no 10% penalty. Be cognizant of when you're withdrawing out of retirement accounts. One of the pieces of advice I always give parents is, hey, we can take a loan for the child's college education, but we can't take a loan for your retirement. I know it doesn't sound very fun, but make sure we understand where those funds are coming from and what the long-term effects of taking those funds. Distribution from a Roth to pay for a qualified education may be subject to ordinary income tax again, but there is no tax penalty there. 2 years college graduation for some financial aid. Make sure, again, just like the 529, that we're not pulling all these funds in early, because that may affect your child in their junior and senior or possibly 5th year option as regards to the FAFSA and federal student loan or aid programs. And some employers, such as 401k, allow to take loans. That is something that we can look at. There's no tax ramifications, and it does not count as income against the FAFSA. Be careful, though, on taking 401k loans. Understand the impact and costs associated with taking the 401k loan. Obviously, 529s are very popular for child college planning. Don't forget the annual exclusion amount. You can contribute up to $16,000 per year to a beneficiary 529 account gift tax-free. Absolutely fantastic. It varies state by state. We're in the state of Ohio. Our current is $4,000 that they will give you for 529 contributions. But again, you could use the gift exclusion up to $16,000. And you can also do a lump sum up to $80,000 to a beneficiary. So if you have a grandparent who's charitably inclined or wants to make sure that student is set up properly, they can use this lump sum contribution up to $80,000 to kickstart that 529 plan over a 5-year period. Do it all at once. And again, that's gift tax free. You also may be eligible for state income tax deduction or credit if you contribute to a plan sponsored by your state. Although we do have sometimes that clients want to use different state programs. Ohio has 3 different state programs, so make sure you're choosing the one that's appropriate for you. Coverdell ESA, don't see those at often, if at all anymore, but they are an option. Also Series EE or I bonds, which have become popular with rising inflation, can also be used for qualified education expenses. Don't forget, those are also subject to income limitations. And one of my favorite subjects is tax planning. Is your modified adjusted gross income less than 90,000 or 180,000 married filing joint? Consider you may be eligible for the American Opportunity Tax Credit. Talk to your accountant or CPA, wonderful program there. And the Lifetime Learning Tax Credit for 20% of the first 10,000 of a qualified educational expense per tax return. Interesting stuff there. And don't forget, there's a little bit of phase out in there, and obviously that will adjust year after year. Does your state offer an income tax deduction or credits for 529 contributions? I spoke about our state here in Ohio. Eligible for any education tax credits if you have a 529. Is the distribution from my 529 plan subject to federal income tax? We have another video about that. Go look that up, and you can learn more about that taxation there for the distribution. And will your child have a student loan? If so, consider the following. You can deduct $2,500 of interest on qualifying student loan debt per tax return. Again, there's some phase outs there. And if you have a 529 account, this is something that's been newer over the last few years, up to $10,000 can be used to pay down student loan debts. Wonderful way to kind of matriculate through and contribute to a 529 to get the tax deduction, and then ultimately taking that 529 to pay off the student loan is a wonderful idea for financial planning and tax planning. And again, this is a lifetime limit per person. You can do this for other beneficiaries and siblings, but that's per person is that $10,000 limit. Again, thank you so much for showing up. Thank you so much for watching these videos. Appreciate it. We'll keep bringing more videos to you as we go. Don't forget to visit us at mygatewaymoney.com, and just hit that thumbs up and hit that subscribe button, and we'll keep bringing you quality content here. Thanks, and have a great day.